Tavy stepped off the transport shuttle, all four of her eyes blinking rapidly to adjust to Earth's harsh sunlight. Her iridescent skin shimmered with anxiety as she clutched her family's meager belongings. The refugee processing center bustled with activity, humans in uniforms directing various alien species through security checkpoints. Her parents moved ahead, speaking in hushed tones. "It will be better here," her father Ren whispered, his voice carrying a hope Tavy couldn't share. Their homeworld was gone, destroyed when its twin suns destabilized. Over 60% of their species had perished. The survivors, like her family, were scattered across hospitable planets. Earth had opened its borders after much debate. Humans needed the advanced technology refugees brought, while the displaced aliens needed somewhere to live. A practical arrangement, but not a comfortable one. "Processing complete," announced the human official, handing them 3 identity cards. "Welcome to Earth. Your housing is in District 7. Their new home was a small apartment in a building filled with both humans and aliens. The walls were thin, and Tavy could hear arguments through them every night. The refugee crisis had strained resources, and many humans resented the newcomers. On her first morning, Tavy stood before the mirror, trying to make herself look less alien. Impossible. Her 4 eyes, 2 large primary ones and 2 smaller secondary ones above them, blinked back at her. Her skin's natural iridescence shifted colors with her mood, currently a nervous blue-green. Her 6 fingers on each hand seemed especially strange compared to human hands. "Maybe I could wear gloves," she suggested to her mother. "No hiding," her mother said firmly. "We are not ashamed." Riverside High School loomed ahead, a 3-story building with humans streaming through its doors. Tavy's stomachs clenched with dread. The Earth Council had mandated integrated education, placing refugee children in local schools rather than separate facilities. A good idea in theory. As she walked through the front doors, conversation stopped. Eyes turned to stare. Tavy kept her gaze on the floor, following the map to her first class. "What is that thing?" Someone whispered, loud enough for her translator to catch. "Probably another freeloader from that exploded planet," another voice answered. History class was first. The teacher, Mr. Park, seemed kind enough but struggled with her name. "Tavy," he attempted. "Tavi," she corrected gently. The emphasis was wrong, but she'd given up on hearing her name pronounced correctly. "Class, this is our new student from Nalthoria," Mr. Park announced. "Nalthoria is gone," Tavi corrected quietly. "I am Nalthorian, but my home doesn't exist anymore." An uncomfortable silence followed. Lunch was worse. The cafeteria's noise overwhelmed her sensitive hearing. She found an empty table in the corner, carefully unpacking the special nutrient pods her mother had prepared. Nalthorians couldn't digest much Earth food. A group of human girls walked past, making exaggerated, disgusted faces at her meal. "It smells like rotten eggs," one said loudly. "Probably tastes even worse," another laughed. Tavy ate quickly, trying to ignore them. Her skin had darkened to a deep purple with embarrassment. The physical education class that followed was torture. Nalthorians were built for precision, not speed or strength. When they played a game called basketball, no one passed to her. When she finally got the ball by accident, she was knocked down by a boy twice her size. "Watch where you're going, alien," he snapped. The teacher blew a whistle. "Careful there, Minho. She's more fragile than you." Tavy felt her skin flush orange with anger and humiliation. She wasn't fragile. She was different. Her people had built ships that traveled between stars when humans were still fighting with swords. Art class was her last period, and finally, she felt some relief. The teacher, Ms. Lee, assigned a free drawing project. Tavy lost herself in creating an image of her homeworld, the crystal forests and twin suns. For a few minutes, she forgot where she was. "What's that supposed to be?" A boy had stopped beside her desk. "My home," Tavy answered, not looking up. "Looks weird," he said, but without the mockery she'd faced all day. She glanced up to see him studying her work with genuine interest. He walked away before she could respond. After school, Tavi hurried toward the exit, keeping her head down. A small rock skittered past her feet, then another. She walked faster. "Go back to space, Bug Eyes," someone called out. More pebbles bounced nearer. She broke into a run, her heart's pounding. Nalthorians had evolved with calcium-based exoskeletons beneath their skin. Rocks were dangerous. Their ancient predators had cracked their ancestors open with stones. Safely home, Tavi finally let her emotions show. Her skin cycled through colors as she sobbed. "It will get better," her father promised, his own skin a comforting amber. "Humans just need time to adjust. They're not so different from us, really." "They hate us," Tavi whispered. "Some do," her mother admitted, "but not all. Remember the stories. Their history is full of the same mistakes, but also great kindness. Give them a chance to show their better nature." That night, Tavi wrote in her journal, trying to believe her parents. She had to find a way to survive here. This was their new reality. As she wrote, she thought of the boy in art class, the one who had paused, who had looked at her work without judgment. Maybe, just maybe, not all humans were the same. June sat at the back of the classroom, his eyes fixed on the alien girl as she entered. 3 weeks into the semester, and Tavi still walked with her shoulders hunched as if expecting a blow. He watched as she navigated to her desk, carefully avoiding contact with the other students. Her skin shifted colors slightly, a soft blue-green that reminded him of the ocean. He hadn't spoken to her yet, not that he spoke much to anyone these days. Since his mother's transport ship had been destroyed in the war, words seemed to have dried up inside him. His father worked double shifts at the recycling plant to keep them afloat, leaving June alone most evenings. "Today we'll be discussing the Interstellar Treaty," Mr. Park announced. "Can anyone tell me why Earth opened its borders to refugees?" Minho's hand shot up. "Because they have technology we want." "That's part of it," Mr. Park nodded. "Anyone else?" Tavi's hand rose slowly. The class fell silent. "Because it was the right thing to do," she said quietly. 60% of my people died when our suns destabilized. We had nowhere to go." "Exactly," Mr. Park smiled. Humanitarian concerns were a major factor in the council's decision. "Humanitarian for humans," muttered Hannah from the second row. "Not alienitarian." Laughter rippled through the classroom. Tavi's skin darkened to a deep purple. June frowned. His mother had been transporting medical supplies to help the refugees when her ship was caught in crossfire. She'd believed in helping others, regardless of species. Her last message to him had been about making a difference, about standing up for what was right. He hadn't been able to do that since she died. It hurt too much to care. At lunch, Jun noticed Tavi sitting alone again. Today, a group of boys led by Minho walked past her table, deliberately knocking into it and spilling her food. "Oops," Minho laughed. "Guess you'll have to go without. Not that anyone can tell what that slime is anyway." Tavi said nothing, just began cleaning up the mess. Her hands trembled slightly. June looked down at his own lunch. Before he could second-guess himself, he stood up and walked over to her table. "Here," he said, placing his untouched apple and protein bar in front of her. "I'm not hungry anyway." 4 eyes blinked up at him in surprise. "Thank you," she said, "but I cannot digest your food." "Oh," June felt foolish. "I didn't know." "It is a kind gesture regardless," she added, her skin lightening to a softer shade. He nodded awkwardly and returned to his table, feeling eyes on his back. In art class that afternoon, Ms. Lee paired them up for a project. June found himself sitting beside Tavi. "We are to create something representing home," Tavi said, reading the assignment. June stared at the blank paper. Home. Once that had meant his mother's laugh, the smell of her cooking, the way she'd ruffle his hair when he said something clever. Now it was just an empty apartment. "I do not know how to represent my home either," Tavi said softly, as if reading his thoughts. "It no longer exists." Something about her words broke through his shell. My mom died in the war, he found himself saying. She was helping your people. Tavi's 4 eyes widened. I am sorry, she said. Many helped us at great cost to themselves. They worked in silence for a while. June watched as Tavi's 6-fingered hands moved across the paper, creating shapes and colors he'd never seen before. That's amazing, he said when she finished, looking at the crystalline landscape she created. Is that where you're from? Yes, the crystal forests of northern Nalthoria. Her voice caught. They sang when the wind blew through them. June looked at his own drawing, a simple house with his mother standing in the doorway. It seemed childish compared to hers. Your mother looks kind, Tavi observed. She was. June felt his throat tighten. She would have liked you. After school, June saw a group of students following Tavi as she left the building. Something in their posture made his stomach clench. He recognized Minho and Hana among them, along with several others known for causing trouble. He hesitated. It wasn't his business. Getting involved meant caring, and caring hurt too much. Then he saw Hana bend down to pick up a stone. From the corner of his eye, he noticed an older alien student. Duri, he thought the name was, watching with growing alarm. Duri suddenly sprinted toward him. You must help, Duri panted, reaching June. The stones. They will kill her. What? June asked, confused. Our bodies. They are not like yours. Duri explained frantically. Under our skin is a calcium structure. Stones can crack it. Even small ones can cause fatal damage if they hit the right spots. June felt cold all over. They're just bullying her. They wouldn't really hurt. They do not know. Duri interrupted. Please, they will listen to you. You are human. June looked toward where Tavi now stood backed against a tree, the group closing in around her. His feet felt rooted to the ground. His mother's voice echoed in his memory. We always have a choice, June. Even doing nothing is a choice. Across the distance, Tavi's frightened eyes met his. Her skin had turned a pale, sickly white. Minho raised his arm, stone in hand. June began to run. Tavi tried to calculate her chances of escape. 0. The group of humans had her cornered against the old oak tree at the edge of the school grounds. There were 7 of them, led by Minho and Hana. Their faces held a mix of anger and excitement that made her hearts race with fear. We need to talk about you aliens taking over our school, Minho said, tossing a small stone up and catching it. I am not taking anything, Tavi replied, trying to keep her voice steady. Her skin had turned a pale white, betraying her fear despite her efforts. I am just trying to learn. Hana stepped forward. She was smaller than Minho, but somehow more frightening. Her eyes were cold. My father lost his job last month. The company hired some 4-armed alien instead. Said they work faster. That has nothing to do with me, Tavi said. You're all the same, Hana replied. You come here with your weird technology, taking our jobs, changing our culture. She picked up a stone from the ground, weighing it in her hand. A small crowd of students had gathered at a distance, watching. None moved to help. Tavi couldn't blame them. Humans protected their own kind. She was an outsider. My family lost everything, Tavi tried to explain. Our entire planet. We didn't choose to come here. Well, we didn't choose to have you here either, Minho countered. The stone in his hand seemed to grow larger in Tavi's vision. Her body tensed instinctively, calcium structures beneath her skin hardening in anticipation of impact. An ancient defense mechanism, but useless against a determined attack. From the corner of her eye, Tavi saw Duri, an older student from her world, speaking urgently to someone. It was the quiet human boy from art class, June, the one who had shared his lunch. Duri seemed desperate, gesturing wildly toward her. June's face showed confusion, then shock. She returned her attention to the immediate threat. Minho had been joined by 2 other boys, all holding stones now. We're just going to teach you a lesson, Minho said. Maybe after this, you'll decide to find another school. The first stone flew past her head, a warning shot. Tavi pressed herself against the tree, trying to make herself smaller. Her secondary eyes scanned for any possible escape route, while her primary eyes stayed fixed on her attackers. "Please," she said. "You don't understand. Your stones, they can kill my kind. Our bodies aren't like yours." Hannah laughed. "Right, now you're just making stuff up to scare us." "It's true," Tavi insisted, her voice rising with panic. "Our exoskeletons are calcium-based. They can shatter under impact. That's why my people avoided conflict for centuries." "Then maybe you should have stayed on your own planet," a boy in the back called out. "Our planet is gone." Tavi's voice broke as her skin flushed deep red with anger and fear. "We watched it burn. Do you think we wanted to come to a world where we're hated?" The circle around her tightened. More stones were collected from the ground. "This is our world," Minho said, "and we're taking it back." He raised his arm, his face twisted with a hatred Tavi couldn't understand. She had never done anything to him. In that moment, she thought of her parents, how hopeful they had been about Earth, how they had told her humans were capable of great compassion despite their violent history. They would never know what happened to her. They would just receive a message that there had been an incident. Tavi closed all four eyes, bracing for the impact that would likely shatter the protective layer over her vital organs. One good hit was all it would take. The sound of running footsteps made her open her eyes again. Someone was pushing through the crowd of onlookers. June. His face was a mix of determination and fear as he sprinted toward them. "Minho, stop," he shouted. "You don't know what you're doing." Minho hesitated, stone still raised. "Stay out of this, June. This isn't your fight. They'll die if you hit them with rocks," June panted, still running toward the group. "Their bodies can't take it like ours can." "So what?" Hannah challenged. "Why do you suddenly care about aliens?" June was closer now, just beyond the circle. "My mother died helping them," he said. "She believed they deserved a chance. She wouldn't want this." "Your mother died because of them," Minho countered. "If they hadn't come here, there wouldn't have been a war." A look of pain crossed June's face, but he didn't back down. "The war was started by humans who thought like you," he said, "people afraid of anyone different." Minho's arm tensed. The stone flew from his hand before anyone could stop him. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. June lunged forward, placing himself between Tavi and the flying stone. It struck him in the shoulder, making him wince in pain. But he stood his ground. "The next one hits me too," he said, his voice steady despite the pain. "Is that what you want? To hurt another human?" The circle wavered. Some of the students looked uncomfortable now. "Move, June," Hannah said, but her voice had lost some of its conviction. "No." He stood firmly in front of Tavi, his back to her. "If you want to hurt her, you'll have to hurt me first." Tavi stared at the human boy's back, unable to comprehend why he would risk himself for her. In all her studies of Earth history, humans had rarely defended those unlike themselves. Minho picked up another stone, larger than the first. The crowd grew silent, watching to see what would happen next. Minho's eyes narrowed as he weighed the second stone in his hand. It was larger than the first, jagged on one edge where it had broken from a bigger rock. June stood unflinching, his body a human shield between Tavi and the makeshift weapon. The pain in his shoulder throbbed where the first stone had struck, but he remained steady. "Move, June," Minho repeated. "This isn't about you." "I'm making it about me," June replied. Behind him, he could hear Tavi's rapid breathing. He didn't dare turn around. "What are you trying to prove here, Minho?" Hannah stepped closer, her stone still clutched tightly. "They don't belong here. They're taking over everything. My father lost his job because some company owner decided an alien would work cheaper," June interrupted. "That's not Tavi's fault. She's just trying to survive, like all of us." A girl from the watching crowd called out, "My mom says the aliens brought new medicines. My brother's sickness got better because of them." Minho shot her an angry look. "Shut up, Suma." "It's true, though," another voice added. "My dad works at the new tech factory. Says we wouldn't have those jobs without their knowledge." The circle of stone throwers seemed less certain now. June saw his opening. "My mother died bringing medical supplies to the refugee ships," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Her last message to me was about doing the right thing, about being the best of humanity, not the worst." His voice cracked slightly. "What would your parents think if they saw you now, stoning a girl because she looks different?" Minho's arm wavered. The second stone remained unlaunched. Another rock suddenly flew from the side, thrown by someone June couldn't see. It struck him in the back, harder than the first. He gasped, stumbling forward, but caught himself before he fell. "Stop it," Dury shouted, pushing through to stand beside June. "You will kill her. Our bodies cannot withstand your stones." "Is that true?" asked a boy in the crowd. "They can die from getting hit with rocks." "Yes," Dury explained quickly. "Our vital organs are protected by calcium structures. Your stones can crack them like you would crack a shell. Even small impacts in the wrong places can be fatal." A murmur ran through the watching students. Some looked horrified, others skeptical. "They're just trying to trick us," Hannah insisted, but her voice had lost its edge. Jum straightened up, wincing from the pain in his back. "You want proof? Look at how scared she is. Tavi's never done anything to any of you. She lost her whole world. Imagine if Earth was destroyed and we had to flee to some alien planet. How would you want to be treated?" Minho's fingers tightened around his stone. For a moment, Jun thought he would throw it anyway. Then, with a frustrated sound, Minho dropped it to the ground. "This is stupid," he muttered. "Not worth getting in trouble over some alien." Several of his followers shifted uncomfortably, looking at the stones in their hands as if seeing them differently now. One by one, they let them fall. Hannah was the last holdout. "My dad says they'll take everything if we let them," she said, but her earlier certainty had faded. "Your dad is scared," Jun replied. "Everyone is. But this isn't the answer." After a long moment, Hannah dropped her stone too. "Whatever," she said, but her eyes didn't meet his. The tension in the air began to dissipate. The crowd of onlookers started to drift away, talking in hushed voices about what they'd witnessed. Minho and his group retreated, throwing occasional glances back, but making no further threats. When they were gone, June finally turned to Tavi. Her skin had shifted from fearful white to a swirling pattern of blue and gold. All four of her eyes were fixed on him with an expression he couldn't read. "Are you okay?" he asked simply. "You could have been seriously injured," she replied, her voice soft with disbelief. "Why would you do that for me?" June winced as he rolled his sore shoulder. "I don't know," he admitted. "I just couldn't watch it happen." "In my culture," Tavi said, "to place oneself in danger for another is the highest form of honor. You have performed the shield act, something done only for the closest family or dearest friends." June felt his face grow warm. "I'm not a hero. I just did what anyone should do." "But they did not," Tavi pointed out, gesturing to where the crowd had been. "Only you." Dury approached them, his skin glowing with a soft yellow light. "I must tell the elders what happened here. This shield act will need to be properly acknowledged." "That's really not necessary," June protested. "It is to us," Tavi insisted. "You saved my life today." Principal Kim's voice suddenly cut through the moment. "What is going on here?" she demanded, striding across the grounds with Mr. Park close behind. A student must have reported the incident. Now June would have to explain everything: the bullying, the stones, the danger Tavi had faced. "I believe," Mr. Park said, looking at the scattered stones and June's hunched posture, "we have much to discuss." As they walked toward the school building, Tavi moved closer to June. "Thank you," she whispered. I will not forget what you did. June nodded, a strange feeling growing in his chest. For the first time since his mother's death, he felt something other than emptiness, something that felt almost like purpose. Neither will I, he replied quietly. Principal Kim called an emergency assembly the next morning. The entire school gathered in the auditorium, buzzing with rumors about what had happened. June sat in the front row, his shoulder and back wrapped in medical patches that deadened the pain. Beside him sat Tavi, her skin a calm blue-green. Neither had spoken much about yesterday, but something had changed between them. Yesterday, Principal Kim began, her voice stern. We had an incident that could have ended in tragedy. I want to be clear. This school has a zero-tolerance policy for violence of any kind, against anyone, human or non-human. Minho and his friends sat separated from each other, their faces sullen. They had received 2 weeks of detention and mandatory cultural sensitivity training. Some parents had wanted harsher punishments, while others had complained that alien customs shouldn't dictate school policy. Today, Principal Kim continued, we have a special presentation from our Nalthorian community. They have asked to share something important with us. The lights dimmed. A group of adult Nalthorians walked onto the stage, including Tavi's parents. They wore formal attire, flowing garments that seemed to change color with the light. Tavi touched June's arm lightly. This is the gratitude light, she whispered. It is very rare to perform it outside our community. Ren, Tavi's father, stepped forward. Yesterday, a human student saved my daughter's life, he said, his voice resonating through the auditorium. In our culture, such an act creates a bond that must be acknowledged. The Nalthorians formed a circle and began to hum a low, melodic sound. Slowly, their skin began to glow from within. Patterns of light moved across their bodies, telling a story without words. The audience watched in stunned silence. They're showing what happened, Tavi explained quietly to June. See, that light pattern represents danger. The brighter one shows protection. The story unfolded in dancing lights. The threat, the fear, and then a brilliant flash of gold when the human defender stepped forward. The pattern repeated 3 times, growing more intense with each cycle. When it ended, the Nalthorian's glow faded, leaving the audience in awe. Ren spoke again. For 1,000 years, my people believed we were alone in the universe. When we discovered others, we feared them. Some wanted to hide or fight. But our wisest leaders said, judge not by form, but by action. Yesterday, we saw the true heart of humanity in one brave boy. He looked directly at June. In our tradition, the shield bearer becomes family. We would be honored if June would accept this connection. June felt hundreds of eyes on him. His face burned with embarrassment, but he stood and bowed slightly to Tavi's father. I would be honored, he said simply. After the assembly, something unexpected happened. Students who had never spoken to Tavi approached her with questions about the light ceremony. Others asked June what it felt like to be adopted into an alien family. The fear and distance seemed slightly lessened. A week later, June sat in the cafeteria with Tavi. They were no longer alone. Shuma had joined them, fascinated by Nalthorian art. Duri came regularly, bringing other refugee students. Even some of Minho's former group occasionally sat nearby, though they rarely spoke directly to Tavi. My father says I should thank you, said a quiet voice. June looked up to see Hana standing by their table, looking uncomfortable. For what? He asked. For stopping me from doing something terrible. She glanced at Tavi. I didn't know stones could kill you. I was just angry about my dad's job. Tavi's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. After a moment, she replied, on my world, we have a saying. Understanding grows like crystal, 1 layer at a time. Hana nodded awkwardly and walked away. That was unexpected, Jun remarked. Change always is, Tavi said. From her bag, she removed a small crystalline object and placed it on the table. I made this for you. The object was about the size of June's palm, a complex structure of interlocking crystal pieces that caught the light in beautiful patterns. "It's a friendship token," she explained. "On my world, we give these to those we wish to keep in our lives. It grows brighter when friends are near." As she spoke, the crystal began to glow softly from within. "I don't have anything to give you in return," June said, touching the crystal gently. "You already gave me my life," Tavi replied. "This is just a small thing in comparison." Later that day, in art class, Ms. Lee announced a new project, collaborative work between human and non-human students to create art representing the future we want to build. June and Tavi worked together, combining his charcoal sketching with her crystal pigments. Their piece showed the school with both humans and aliens walking together, surrounded by a border of interlocking hands, some with 5 fingers, others with 6 or more. "Do you think it will really happen?" June asked as they finished, everyone getting along. Tavi considered the question. "Not everyone," she said honestly, "but enough to matter. Sometimes all you need is one person willing to stand between harm and the harmed." The crystal token glowed brighter on the desk between them. Outside the classroom window, June could see human and alien students walking together across the grounds. Not all of them, not even most of them, but more than before. It was a start. That evening, for the first time since his mother's death, June told his father the full story of his day at school. His father listened quietly, then placed his hand on June's shoulder. "She would be proud of you," he said. "I know I am." June nodded, feeling the emptiness inside him filling, slowly but surely, with something new, something like hope.